Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, everyone's favorite internet mercenary. And no, I may not be a mercenary in real life, but I play one on the internet. And if you guys sit around watching YouTube, you probably care more about the internet than you do about real life anyway. So that's what matters, baby. It's all good. But now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Because something I noticed with this whole Alan Aragon situation that happened, and really this isn't even about that, this is about a larger topic, because this brought out a lot of what I've noticed over the last few years in this community. Is you have all these people out here who try to pretend to be bastions of morality, pillars of morality, right, on all these social topics. And let me just state up front, I'm not saying I'm some paragon of virtue. I'm not claiming to be some great beacon of morality myself. I have my own set of character flaws. I have made plenty of mistakes in my life. Hell, I've made mistakes on YouTube, right? I can't deny that. I am not even close to a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. I hold no illusions about being so. Right? I have flaws, guys. But that's the thing that bothers me, is that you have all these people who, let's just be honest, people who, objectively speaking, when it comes to straight up actually being bad people, because the way I present myself on the internet, we could argue, okay, not always good. Some people might not like it. They might consider it to be somewhat bad. Okay? And I get that. You're entitled to that opinion. That's totally fair. You have a right to that viewpoint. But objectively speaking, I'm not actually ripping anybody off. I'm not actually hurting people with what I'm doing. Right? I'm not actually causing any real harm or conning people out of money or supporting the idea of doing so. All right? Objectively speaking, I think that's a little worse than some antics on YouTube. Yeah, I think so. But we have all these people who came out of the woodworks who jumped up screaming about, well, we need to be treating women better, and we're just going to distance ourselves completely from Alan Aragon. He's a total douchebag. And I'll be honest, what he did was pretty bad. You know, I even distanced myself from him. I mean, I used to consider Alan a friend. I haven't really talked to him lately. I've had to distance myself from that because I don't approve of what he did. I don't approve of what he did. And I think most people kind of look at everything that happened. What we can see, we don't know how much is truth, how much is real, but what we can confirm does appear to be the truth. Largely agreed upon by all parties involved. The things that we do kind of know to be true, guess what? Pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad, guys. I can't advocate that. And we need to speak out against that sort of stuff. And hell, I would argue that, yeah, if we want to get more women into the lifting world, we do got to police other men. We do need to make these other men behave a little bit. Right? Probably a good idea. We need to work on that. We need to work on that collectively in the lifting world. I think most people agree with that point. Right? We need to do that. But this virtue signaling and these people who acted so high and mighty and pretended like they're greatly moral people and above this, when half of them are fake natties, guys who run around pretending to be natty but still using anabolics behind the scenes to sell products, to sell services, to sell supplements. A lot of these guys sell supplements. All right, let's be honest here. Anyone who's been in the game for any length of time, anyone who's been working out more than 5 years, unless you are borderline mentally handicapped, you don't actually think supplements work. Right? Some really dumb people might think they work. Anyone of at least average intelligence who has been lifting at least 5 years probably doesn't think supplements really work anymore. They've kind of figured out it's just a big scam for the most part. A handful of them work that you can buy for $5 or less a month. At least the ingredients that work. A few of them work. And protein powders can add protein to your diet. You know, the creatine seems to work. You know, creatine costs less than $5 a month. Some of these things work. 95+% of them are a complete waste of money and a ripoff. Anybody selling these products who wants to really pretend they're a good person, well, you know, I'm helping people get jobs by selling products that don't work. You know, people could actually manufacture products that do work. All right, you're not necessarily providing useful jobs because it's coming at the expense of the consumer. It's based upon an industry that kind of uses lies and shady advertising and false advertising to sell products that don't actually do anything. You know, we could argue about my iPhone X or whatever, but this at least does something. I can use it to make phone calls. In fact, look like some troll or somebody was trying to call me right in the middle of this video. I can use it to surf the internet. I can use it to check my emails. Hell, I've even got a GPS in it. It actually does something. We could argue that it's a little overpriced. It probably is. But it at least works. It works as advertised. I can do all those things that they say that it'll do. I can surf the internet and make phone calls and send text messages and take photographs, find my location on a map, find directions to a place I want to go. Right? I can do all that stuff with it. It actually works. Most of the time. Most of the time it works. Supplements don't work. And these people are selling supplements, involved in the supplement industry, and they're going to pretend like they're good people. You're conning people for a living. You're ripping people off for a living. Or they're fake natties, lying about their steroid use to sell their programs and products. I don't think that's particularly good. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. And people are going to say, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. I think sexually harassing a woman is wrong. I think groping a woman without her permission is wrong. I also think lying about your drug use to sell products to people that don't actually work is theft, and I think that's equally wrong. I think that is just as bad on a morality scale. It's in the same ballpark as groping a woman without permission. It's pretty shady. It's bad behavior. That's bad behavior that should be shunned. That most of us should look at that and go, man, that's not cool, bro. If we saw somebody doing that, we would say lying about their drug use to sell a product that they know doesn't work for a living and supporting other people doing it. Doesn't matter. See, we could take that away from supplements. Let's say someone does illegal drugs behind the scene and in some way using those drugs helps them sell a product that doesn't work. Doesn't work. We would say, hey man, that's not cool. You're not really a good person, bro. That's not good. Just like if we saw a man groping a woman without permission out in a social setting and started feeling all over her and grabbing her and pulling her to him and whispering sexual things to her without any permission at all, and she pushes him away, we would also say, hey, dude, that's not cool. You're not a real good person, right? We're at that level. What's the difference? They're both wrong. They're both taking advantage of people, using some form of deception or force or coercion to take advantage of people in some way. Who's going to be worse off? Well, the woman's going to maybe have some emotional scars and be upset. That could cause her problems. That could have a lasting negative effect. It's probably not going to be end of the world level stuff for her, but it's going to have a negative effect that's long term. Someone who's had hundreds of dollars stolen from them with false advertising is also going to have a long term negative effect. All right, you're both bad people. How in the hell are you guys better? You're still doing stuff that's really wrong to people, that's hurtful to people, that's harmful to other people. Not like physically harmful, like you've damaged them, but it's still harmful to other people, and you're doing it for a living. I mean, instead of doing it for fun, is that really much better? Maybe. I don't know. I guess at least you could say, well, I got to feed my family. Well, you got paid to grope women for a living without permission, and that fed your family. I guess it would make it okay, right? I guess, if we want to use that level of logic. And the worst part, there are people who have done some really heinous stuff who jumped up being bastions of morality. Like Lane jumped in the middle of all of that. And I'm not going to trudge through all this stuff with Lane, but I'm going to stand there and go, wait, you're going to stand there and pretend like you're standing up for women's rights and empowerment? You cheated on your pregnant wife. Your wife was pregnant and raising your special needs son, toddler, I guess he was pretty young at that point, while pregnant with your other baby, and you went and put your penis in another woman. Now, it'd be one thing if you guys had separated. We all get that, man. I mean, people go through separations and sometimes stuff happens, but this person still thinks that you're their loving spouse and the father of their children and pregnant with your baby, and you put your penis in another woman. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that as far as causing harm to a woman I'm going to say cheating on your pregnant wife is probably more harmful than groping a woman without permission. They're both harmful. But I mean, if we're going to talk about really being bad to women, I don't know, man. Putting your penis in another woman when you got a pregnant wife at home is pretty bad. That's definitely up there. Someone like that has no business at all. No business at all in that conversation talking about treatment of women. Okay, sorry, not buying it. No, The whole thing is total hypocrisy. There are these people who really and truly, when you really look at what they do for a living and professionally, they're pretty bad people. Yet there was all this virtue signaling of, oh, they wanted to go after Alan because he did something really wrong, when all of them do just as wrong stuff every day and support wrong stuff. Really bad stuff. They support it every day. I mean, right there, man. Dr. Helms jumped right in the middle of that. He supports the whole fake natty movement. I mean, gets up and argues passionately about how these people, well, they're probably very well could be natties, who are using drugs by the truckload, claiming natty and then using that to sell programs and sell worthless supplements and sell diets and everything else. And he stands there and defends them. He defends straight up charlatanry and fraud, defends it in other people, because I think Eric is a natty. I don't think he's a fake natty. I don't think he's guilty of those things. To my knowledge, he's not. But he's standing there defending people who do this all day long and actually goes into long, detailed discussions trying to defend these people as a professional, but then screams and disavows that someone else who does another thing wrong in the industry is all of a sudden evil, and he has to distance himself from him and take off his. But you associate every day and are defending people who straight up lie and con people out of money for a living. It's perfectly acceptable. In fact, you run to the defense of these people all the time online. In interviews and videos, everything else. Like again, what? How is that? You don't defend morality. You defend total scumbag theft and con artists. That's what you're supporting. You're going to stand there and jump all over Alan about this, all this virtue signaling from these guys. But they support all sorts of other scumbaggery all day long, every day, because this whole industry is built on it. But then they're going to virtue signal. Seriously, guys? Seriously? I don't think there are many virtuous people in this industry. You hang out in the whole fitness or bodybuilding or physique industry for very long, you're going to get dirty. This whole industry is dirty. There's nobody in it who's clean, I don't think. You want my honest opinion on it? And hell, I've ended up, while being involved in the time that I have, there are times when I've even found myself doing things of questionable morality just as a result of being part of this community. Yeah. So this virtue signaling is total hypocrisy. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.